Hey everybody, this is Grace. Pardon the way I'm doing the video. It's too noisy inside, and it's time kids would be at the park if I went down there, so I don't put other people's kids in my videos. In this video, I want to talk about, empaths, people who call themselves empaths. Now, people who call themselves empaths, myself, they have different reasons for calling themselves that. Yeah. But I want to ask some questions and see if other people feel the same way who, consider themselves as empaths. And one of the questions, I'll just jump right into it. One of the questions is, do you find yourself better able or more often the one to figure something out, to understand it before other people do? Like it could be anything. It could be even a math problem or a problem between people, or two people, a problem between you and that person. Any kind of thing that, like even watching mysteries or, something intriguing and something like that. Are you better able to figure out what's going on and what's going to be the ending of it and all that? I know I am. I learned not to ruin and not to be a spoiler, like if I watch some mystery or, some show. I'll give Monk as an example. M-O-N-K. I haven't watched those in a long while, but, I was always able to figure out what's going on before other people. And, like I said, I learned just not to spoil it for other people. It's kind of difficult because when you figure something out, you go, oh, I get it now. Anything. And other people would be, you'd ruin it for them. And I think as an empath, I think we don't want to ruin stuff for other people. And we think about that. And how many of us have had somebody ruin something for us, and they're the kind of person that just doesn't think that way. They're not all that empathetic. Anyway, now why, if you do think this way, why? Why do you think you're better able to figure things out first? Okay. And I have my air conditioner on. It's May the 3rd here in Texas, and it's 90 degrees Fahrenheit was what my SUV says. 90 degrees at 5:11 p.m. Yeah, that's kind of high. Anyway, now here's something. I just want to add that little bit before I forgot. But here's something. Do you think that you tend to, as an empath, tend to study something more? You really sit there and you contemplate and you take it apart. You kind of like use a scientific method, or you take the bits and put them all together, connect the dots, bit by bit. And you notice that other people just don't do that, and you kind of sometimes wonder what's going on in their brain. Or you might say, well, you have. You don't really gossip, but like you're trying to tell somebody something about somebody else without actually saying it, and you think somebody's going to be able to follow, your train of thought, and you realize they can't, and do you go, why? It seems so simple, but you don't say anything, of course, to them. You don't, hint to it, but you just feel it, and you know it. Okay. Now, maybe how many of us were, like when I went to college and attended university, but how many of us, back in the day when we were children, in school, how many of us understood math better than other ones, or any kind of subject, any subject? You were like a whiz kid in that subject. Okay, I wrote some down in case you hear this paper moving around. Okay. Now, do you think that you spend more time than other people, like I just said, thinking these things through, but you realize that people need to. Some people want to take things just on the surface, that's just what it seems like that person's doing, that kind of mentality. But when you want to really get deeper into it, because what they say might sound like gossip, or, people just coming up with making up stuff just to move on. And when you really want to know what is going on, not being a nosy what was that old-fashioned term? Busybody? Is that what it was? But you just really want to know in case you can help. Not unsolicited advice, but in case, something comes up. Now, more. Okay, and kind of in a little bit of what I've been hinting to, which you probably have figured out by now, is I laugh too much sometimes. Do you do that? But here, do you have a higher IQ? Now, you don't have to tell me, but I do. I have a genius IQ, and I've been tested on and off since I was a kid. And have you been tested? I mean, recently as an adult. Maybe we were all tested when we were a child, or a teenager. Probably more as a teenager, especially if you were planning on going to college or university, or they were trying to put you in, some schools would put you in a class they think you're geared toward whatever field. Some don't. Some kind of do. But were you tested? And do you know that score? Now, I don't know. I haven't studied enough about how does it change as you age and, mature. But I remember one time I took 2 days of tests, not IQ tests, but testing. One of them was an IQ test. Now, I was in my 40s at the time. I think I was around 45. Let's see. No, I was 47. Yeah, 10 years ago. I'm 57 now. But, and they did that, and I had to, I'm serious, I had to reteach myself things like multiplying and dividing fractions and percentages and all that kind of stuff. I am serious. I had to sit there and really think really hard on how do you do these. There's a bunch of different kinds of tests. Like I said, it's not all IQ. One was. But I mean, and I couldn't, it was so long ago that I'd used some of this, and we do use it in our everyday life. We use math in our everyday life. Some people just don't want to admit to it, but we do. I got $10. I'm going to the store. What can I buy? There you go, right there. Anyway, it's just one example. But anyway, if I leave all the lights on all night and all day, and I run the air conditioner all day, how much is my electricity bill probably going to be? Really high. But you're still using it. Anyway, but yeah, I was, it was difficult. Then, when I actually got the scores for all those tests, and all of them from 2 days, they, on one of them, I don't remember which one, at least one of them, it said that they adjust things for the person's age. Now, I thought that was good. Because when you're young and you're learning all this, it's fresh in your mind. As you get older, there's so much more in your mind. And like the math, I was a math whiz kid when I was, when I was a kid. I was a whiz at math. And but as I aged, I changed my degrees. I started off as a math and computer science major, and I wanted something more challenging. I'm serious. I wanted something more challenging than that. And I went for psychology. Then later on, I added sociology as a double major, and taught at college and university for a really short while overall. But, yeah, like I said, they adjust for your age. That was great. We're not all going to be able to remember everything. It's kind of like when people, like we make grammatical mistakes. I am not a grammarian, definitely not. But it's been a lot longer for us since we've studied it. And some will say, yeah, but you've been using it longer still, especially in the day of using the internet, because what we see currently we might think is correct, and it's not. It gets into our minds. But anyway, I didn't mean to talk about all that. I was just going to talk about, empaths. And do you think things through like I'm doing? I have more videos to come. But what about you? Seriously, how do you see it? Leave a comment. If you want to subscribe to this YouTube channel, click I think they show up the little icon, the circular icon that pops up, and you can subscribe through that. You can comment too. I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.